Hi guys, welcome to Bare Bones, or whatever we're going to call this. You'll see from the title.
We haven't decided yet.
You'll see from the title what we're going to call this. Just, instead of games, or maybe some games in the background, don't know yet, just a little conversation, dialogue, discussion between us, just about anything and anything. What we've been up to this week, what our
Chatting
thoughts,
shit, really.
our thoughts on various issues.
Because we have
various
lots
events.
of them. We have lots of thoughts.
So let's just get straight into it. You know us both, I'm Ready Freddy 2000. This is the 80s throwback. Bullseye Pikachu and Bones Malloy on the back here. We made him.
We made Bones Malloy.
He's my actual specifications. He looks about right, actually.
He looks
on camera.
chill. Chill as anything.
So the first thing to start is, we're a little late to the party in the discussion,
Yeah.
but Game
I
of
suppose.
Thrones season finale.
It's always a good talking point. Game of Thrones. Oh, it has been for the last, 10 years?
Particularly for the last 2 weeks. Or so.
Indeed.
And
Yeah.
through that, maybe a little discussion on what makes good writing and what makes not good writing.
Yeah,
Fiction.
definitely.
So what were your thoughts on Game of Thrones season finale, and in fact season 8 and 7 for that matter, beginning from Daenerys's, more or less Daenerys's arrival in Westeros?
I mean, originally I did
Spoilers, by the way.
agree. Oh, yeah,
It is
spoilers.
a spoiler
We'll put a
cast
warner.
as well as a podcast.
Put a warning on anyway.
We will.
But to be honest...
Not that anybody doesn't know what happened.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You can learn all the Game of Thrones events just by watching Twitter for the 48
You either
hours
watch
after
Game
it.
of Thrones or you don't watch Game of Thrones.
No, you either watch
So
Game
if you don't watch it, you don't care. And if you do watch it, you've already seen it.
No, there is you watch Game of Thrones, you don't watch Game of Thrones, or you watch Game of Thrones through other people's reactions to Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
There are plenty of people I know at work who have never watched an episode but can tell me the entire story because their Twitter explodes.
Yeah,
Every
Twitter
Monday for
is
about 6 weeks.
definitely something you have to avoid if you're behind.
Yeah.
Like, the day of waiting for to watch Game of Thrones is absolutely horrific.
Which-
considering I'm always on social media.
For many of you may seem a bit odd, but in the UK we don't get it legally until 24 hours after you do. And a lot of you talk a lot on Twitter.
Yeah, so
You talk a lot.
basically have to go into radio silence, don't we? Just to avoid anything.
Of course, the flip side of this is I've seen some people on my Twitter with the announcement of Final Fantasy VII Remake, telling people not to spoil the surprises of what happens in that story that was released
People shouldn't spoil.
22 years ago.
People
No.
shouldn't spoil, though. It's mean.
No, it is.
But yeah,
But there's a limit. There's a statute of limitations,
to be honest,
and I think we're past it for Game of Thrones already.
I
After 2
agreed
weeks.
with the general consensus that it was quite slow moving.
Not even 2 weeks. I'm saying 2 weeks. It's a week and a half. Not even that.
The previous series before the newest one, it was quite slow moving.
Series 7.
But I got why it was doing that. It was building up, it was setting the scene, whereas this one was a bit too fast.
Well, see,
So they didn't find a particularly good balance, I don't think.
they had all of last season building up to this. They had the first 2 episodes of this building up, then everything happened. In fact, what we thought was the build up of the last season and a half, or season 7 and a half of 8, was in 1 episode. And then what should have been the clearing up afterwards was the remaining 3 episodes.
Yeah. It was... I mean, it did feel rushed, though.
It
didn't
was.
It did
It
feel...
undeniably was.
It felt rushed. But at the same time, I was quite happy with the resolution.
I was going to say, you're kind of an apologist for this series of Game of Thrones. Because from what I've seen on social media, there's been 2 responses to Game of Thrones. There is, this is awful, this is terrible, we need to remake this is unthinkable. And it's not that bad. Yeah, it's bad, but it's not as bad as you're saying. Those are the 2 words.
Yeah, I
think
do feel like that. And I think...
that sums up for me how good a show is, by the way. When it's more stringent defenders, best argument is, it's not that bad, guys.
The thing is, for me, because it's so, it's so long running, and it's built its whole, like, oh my god, these moments. Every series you can think of. Do you remember that oh my god moment? Like the Red Wedding or, whatever.
Yeah,
but no matter
the mountain
what,
crushing
yeah,
thingy skull. Yeah.
thingy from Dawn.
Yeah.
So I can't remember his name.
I forget
now.
his name now, but
he was a cool guy though.
he had a cool name as well. What was he?
The Viper,
The Viper,
wasn't it? Yeah.
The Viper.
But for me, nothing they could have done would have been satisfactory enough for people. I don't think people would ever have been happy. So that's why I'm kind of like, do you know, at the end of the day, we all like Jon. Everyone I know is House Stark. You know, you like other characters. You think, oh, Cersei's a really good bad guy. But there isn't anyone that I've really come across who weren't Stark people.
Well, the Starks always had to win in some...
Because they had the moral high ground.
Because the story has been about them, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Across the story, it goes all the way across the Seven Kingdoms and the other kingdom.
Place.
There's just the other island. That's mainland Europe.
Yeah.
The only storyline that doesn't have a Stark as the main focus of it in some way is Daenerys's.
Yeah.
Hers is the only perspective where there's no Stark there. I mean, all the way through the battle up in the north with the wildlings, it's through Jon. Through the battles of the north with the south, it's through Robb.
And obviously Sansa's been all over the shop.
Sansa going all over to the other kingdoms. You get Bran obviously doing his stuff where he goes. You get Arya going to all the other places. Yeah. Learning to be a faceless man and what have you.
I mean, when you look at it,
what's his name? The one they adopted from the
Greyjoys.
Theon. You get the Greyjoy story through him.
Yeah, you do.
And you get through, and after Robb's dead, he then takes over the whole battle for the north side because he's with Ramsay and the Boltons as they're taking it. So it was always going to. It felt like that Song of Ice and Fire being the theme. Daenerys is the fire, the Starks are the ice.
Yeah.
And it's the song of the two of them, but then it's also mirrored in the song of the frozen Northmen. The undead monsters coming from the north, bringing the winter, versus the fire monsters from the south, the dragons bringing the fire.
Yeah. I mean...
But then it just kind of abandons all that right near the end.
I know, but I feel like you need to step away from what actually happened and look at it in the grand scheme of things. Like, I've seen so many people say, oh, now I have to watch it back to see if this was coming. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously at the time, you never take it all in, or you wouldn't make that leap from stuff, but once you know what's going to happen, then you start making that leap. But I think what's annoying people is people think they made that decision now. You know, that was going. That's the answer. Quick, write it down before we forget. People feel like it wasn't building up, that it was just a conclusion that they kind of got stuck with. Which
I get that feeling.
But I know, but the brand thing is hard to understand. I think personally.
For me, you mean that he becomes king?
I mean, I get it, but I just feel like, oh God, like he's the last person I wanted.
What I think is the reason why it's so unsatisfactory is you can have a conclusion to the story, like you say about building it up from the beginning. This is one of the things we're talking about, good and bad writing.
Yeah.
There's every good story ever written, bar none, has a central theme or question, concept, whatever it may be, that starts in the first scene, permeates the entire story, and reaches its natural conclusion in some way in the ending scenes.
Yeah.
If we're talking about good writing, that would be something like Steins Gate. The name of the show itself is the central theme of it that permeates all of it, because it's Okabe's nonsense talking about this is the choice of Steins Gate being fate, and obviously the concept of fate and denying is the running theme. And then at the very end, when you think all hope is lost, the response is, we found, spoilers again, we found a world line between the two world lines you've been trying to fight for. It's one possible chance, and you know what we called it? It's Steins Gate. Because that's what we were after the entire time. I don't think the camera's good enough to pick it up, but I get goosebumps remembering that scene because that was the best moment ever.
I did like Steins Gate.
And when you get that connection of everything together, it feels incredible.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
It was lacking. That's what was lacking.
Had none of that.
But do you also feel like
it does have build-ups in some ways, but it doesn't.
Do you also feel like the gap was an issue though?
What gap?
The gap between the series. I know it couldn't be helped. But
no.
For me, when you kind of didn't really care when it was starting again, because you'd waited so long, and you just thought,
I had the excitement of the build-up for well, I didn't have the excitement because I kind of got from the screenshots beforehand, this is going to be underwhelming. And sometimes you go into a thing thinking this is going to be underwhelming, and then it's not, so it's like, oh, it is. But this actually underwhelmed me with the underwhelming expectation. I was already expecting it to be a disappointment, and I've still come away thinking, I wanted more than that.
Yeah.
Especially, and those moments, the thing that makes them so... This this is how it's to do with jokes as well. It's to do with creativity. All humans love it, or most humans love it. The point at which a joke is funny, the reason it works, is because a joke is a connection of two previously disconnected things.
Yeah.
Right. So, for example, John Cleese gave a lecture about this ages ago that I love watching back about creativity. John Cleese, obviously from Monty Python, everybody knows, where he tells a joke. This was told in about the 1970s or something, so that's how it works. A woman's conducting research at an airport to talk about sexual habits of pilots. So she comes up to a pilot and she asks, "When did you last have sexual intercourse?" And he says, 1958. Knowing the pilot's records and how the reputation that pilots have, she questions this and he goes, "Well, it's only 21:10 now." You get it? Some people don't. It's because when you're talking as a pilot, you talk in 24-hour clock.
Okay.
That's it.
So you gave her a time,
yeah,
not a day.
Not a year. And the joke works because then it's that connection between the way we tell time and the way that we count years.
Right, okay.
And that's the point at which the humour happens. Every joke works like that. Creativity, the reason people enjoy being creative is because those moments are what's great. The reason Steins Gate is good is because when you start off with the stupid playing around with Steins Gate, and this is the choice of Steins Gate, the organisation, the hidden eye stuff, it drops it more and more as Okabe becomes more despairing and more afraid of what's happening.
Yeah.
And more
because before in the beginning he was just being daft.
And then he's actually full of
now
what this is the real thing that's actually happening to me. This is the time travel thing. And then right at the end you get the connection between the stupidness of the start and the seriousness of the end, which is both through the connection of the word Steins Gate. And that's why it's so amazing. That's why it's so hilarious and fantastic when you hear it.
And that's the thing. Whoever wrote it thought of those things
well in advance.
And
the entire thing was written from the beginning.
Because it flowed so easily.
Yeah.
You can tell when someone's had to stop and think, "Oh God, how do I connect those things?"
Exactly.
When something doesn't flow well.
But the point of Game of Thrones, when you're saying that the difference, like the gap between them, those things shouldn't matter if it's been 10 years. Like the reason the scene works is because you connect these two amazing. Like you saw the fake fan thing that someone had written about Jaime fighting the Night King.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when they were talking about Oathkeeper and then the oath that he'd made to Aegon Targaryen, I'll protect the weak. And he says, "You know what they call me? Kingslayer."
Yeah.
How
I like that.
It's dumb and it's anime as fuck, but
that's probably why they didn't do it.
Yeah, because it's cool. It's awesome. But a moment like that would have been nice. Even when they did give the moment, it didn't feel right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Scott, to be honest with you, the overwhelming sense that I had was worrying that the dragons were going to get killed. And then other than that, I can't really remember caring that much.
No.
Like,
and do you know
what
why
were my
you didn't,
big reactions?
And do you know why you didn't care that much? Because it never really hinted or built on the promise that anyone major was going to die.
Oh.
We knew Cersei would die, sure. As soon as Jaime left Winterfell to go to King's Landing, he's going to die.
See, do you know what? I didn't even hate Cersei that much by the end because I'd just kind of given up the ghost.
The only main characters who died are the ones that you can see after episode 3 at the Battle of Winterfell. The writers clearly looked at them and thought, "I don't know what to do with them."
Yeah.
Their whole thing is like behind the scenes battles and fighting for what's right versus not knowing who's going to win, and when it then very clearly becomes Daenerys has won the battle for humanity, she is going to win the battle for the throne. I have no purpose left. One of them being the spider.
Oh no, that was sad though.
It was sad that he died, but it was very clearly manufactured for this character doesn't fit in my story anymore. So we need to have him do some feigned attempt at overthrowing her. And remember, his whole thing, how many people has he had killed?
By his behaviour, you mean?
By deliberate intent, by manipulating people around him to get things killed.
See, again, I can't remember.
He was in on the killing of Ned Stark.
Oh, that was bad.
He was in on the killing of Joffrey.
See,
he was aware of what was happening to Tommen.
Like, can you think of
He has everything that bad that has happened. What were you going to say? Sorry. Talking over you a lot here.
It's alright. I'm just as I'm thinking as you're talking, I'm just thinking about it, like the death. I mean, I can't think of a death that was a hard hitting really since Robb Stark.
No, that was the big one that I remember.
Like, did I actually? Obviously, the animals, any animal dying is horrific. Like, the only reaction that I can remember really since then was the dragons.
There were a handful.
The dragon at the end of the last series, when he became a White Walker dragon.
Yeah.
And then in this one, and honestly, no word of a lie, it was the episode after the Battle of Winterfell, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And he was up in the sky, the green one, and I went, oh, thank God, he's all right. 30 seconds later, not even that, a big bolt through his face.
Yeah.
And I can't. Thought of animals dying. I know it's CGI. Don't really care.
We're going to get into
an animal.
We're going to get into the other major point of good writing, which is
internal
internal consistency.
I felt like
in a
it was
minute.
all my fault. I jinxed the poor bugger.
That's it. There were a handful of moments in other series, like when Marjorie got destroyed in the temple.
Oh yeah, where they crushed her with the church.
Yeah, they destroyed the whole building. So that one was.
People were devastated then.
Well, Marjorie. Marjorie's
wasn't really for me.
Yeah, Marjorie's Marjorie.
I was enjoying her giving Cersei a hard time. That was always fun. And then Nana was great.
I just enjoyed her. There was a particular, again, another one.
And Nana was awesome.
One of those amazing moments where it sets the characters so well that was just lacking in terms of just not even the overall story, just the conversations they have and the ways they behave and the way they act.
Yeah.
Where Marjorie, in the opening scene, she's with Renly Baratheon. Remember, she's married to Renly.
Oh,
remember Renly? Yeah.
He was gay.
Way back at the beginning with the other red woman.
Oh,
the other story
boyfriend.
of fire.
No, her brother. It was her brother, actually, wasn't it? With the curly hair.
Her brother. Yeah, her gay brother.
Yeah.
Who was the Flower Knight, wasn't he? The hero. He was an amazing soldier at one point.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right.
Where she's with him all the time. She's going, oh, I love the jousting. I love the fights. This is going to be so fun. I'm glad that we're king and queen and everything. And then she comes in the bedroom and she's like, shall we go to bed, my lord? And he's like, no, I can't be bothered. I'm tired.
No, I'm gay.
I've got a headache. No, I'm not gay. I've got a headache. And then she goes, oh, well, if you'd like, I can make it easier. I can lie on top. I can do something. Oh, if you'd like, I can turn over and pretend I'm my brother.
Yeah.
And then he's like, are you saying this? And she's like, no, I'm not being funny. I literally don't give a shit. I'm not here to be happy, friendly queen. I'm here to be queen.
Yeah.
Give me an heir, or I will make you.
Yeah.
That's like those single lines. There's another read, the best one in all of it. And the thing that annoyed me about the spider getting killed the way he did, and the way Varys.
He's so angry about the whole thing.
It is. Littlefinger getting killed as well. Getting outsmarted by Sansa.
Oh my god, no, I enjoyed that.
No.
I did, I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed that because the look on his face was it was enough for me.
For one
I
of them.
I thought that is excellent. She's got him.
But there was
the short and curlies.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have been Sansa doing it when he was actually helping her. And he made it too obvious at the time. He was
trying to manipulate her though.
Well, he always is, but he had no reason to kill her at that point.
Yeah, but she'd watched it and he kicked her auntie through the moon door.
Everybody does that. If you're near a moon door,
you have to push.
You've got to push someone through it. Everybody who's been near a moon door has pushed someone through it.
That was the other thing from the finale, wasn't it? What he looks like now.
Oh yeah.
And everyone was like, "Who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is that?" See, that's another thing. Let's bring back all these like one scene nobodies that we had in the other series to try and link it together. Nobody cares about. They should all have been wiped out by the White Walkers in an off-screen moment. Because that's what they deserve. Yeah. But what I was going to say, there's an early scene. I want to say it's season 2, after Ned's been killed, when
that was awful.
Littlefinger meets Varys for a meeting, and they're talking about what happens. And Varys is saying this isn't for the good of the kingdom or whatever, and they're talking about the relative virtues of balance in the kingdom, which Varys is going for, and then Littlefinger's response is chaos is a ladder. It doesn't matter if the kingdom's burning, because when it's burning, anybody can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because he's like, there's one that's trying to throw up anything to get further ahead, and there's one that's trying to throw everything together to make sure everyone's happy, no matter who's there. He has no loyalty to anything but the realm. He mentions that a lot. And
Varys does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Varys does. Yeah.
And at that moment, you can see this is the story that there's who's on the throne. It's It's the central theme of most of it. It's the thing that everybody's fighting for. But ultimately, what's really happening underneath is these individuals fighting for their own particular view of how the kingdom should be. And then underneath that, which then comes into contrast at it, is the dragons and the White Walkers approaching from both sides. That is the real threat to the kingdom. And all of that just kind of dropped away at the end.
Yeah, it did.
It kind of felt like at the end it should have been Littlefinger. Like, there should have been the battle with Cersei and Daenerys happening before the White Walkers. Because the story goes in that order. It's who's on the throne is the what's the word? Superficial image. That's what people in the world are like, who's going to be on the throne, but that's not what's really happening. What's happening underneath is whether will chaos or togetherness win. It should have been then Varys and the Spider trying to fight each other to see who they can make survive the end. And then finally the battle with the White Walkers where almost nobody's left. Where life ultimately wins over death.
Yeah, ultimately.
But only just. It
And
shouldn't
the
be.
Unsullied.
It shouldn't
they
be.
all got killed. We watched them. We watched them
And the
break the bridge so they couldn't get back. And then we were down in King's Landing. There they all were.
more so
And
than
we
there
just-
were
We were
in the Battle
supposed
of
to have just
Winterfell.
forgotten that they all died.
I think the writers literally said, "Yeah, we hoped you'd forget that we killed them all earlier."
To be honest, though, I liked that Daenerys went too far.
the horsemen
though.
as well.
Like,
they all went
that
off.
was
They
cool.
charged off to fight.
Yeah, we watched them
disappeared,
die.
and then later on they're back.
Maybe we shouldn't use all of them.
Why would she
I
ever
don't
not
know.
use
I'm
all
just
of
trying
them?
to find a reason.
Don't try and find a reason.
But I think,
They're writing it,
I mean,
not you.
the whole argument was, why would you burn the city when they'd rang the bells and all of that? And she didn't really go okay to Tyrion, did she? She didn't really
No.
agree, but you could see why you would think she had. But
And now
for me, I get both sides of it. Like, yeah, it wasn't the actual kingdom's fault that Cersei, that the throne had been taken off by the Lannisters or the Baratheons or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they just shot a dragon out of the sky. And for me, I could understand why that would be overwhelming.
Now, see, we're getting into the other side. The other thing.
This is
All
what
stories
rescues
have-
it for me.
Good stories have internal consistency.
Because
It can be.
it's not rational, is it? Because she's having this, she's completely gone crazy because they've killed ultimately she's lost two of her dragons to this war.
It's internal consistency, and it's a natural progression without needless or unexplained leaps from one point to the next.
Like, I don't think it's
Again, almost
it's not
all good
difficult to
stories
get to
have
why
them.
she did what she did.
There are-
Then her trying to justify it afterwards was an issue.
Yeah.
She should have just said, "Sorry, I was fucking livid. They killed my dragons. She's my enemy. She's killed. They killed Missandei in front of her. Why not? Why is that not enough good enough reason to tell Jon Snow?
See, there's
Just go. I was livid. I reacted
It's like
irrationally.
They were trying to go for another cliche. I've talked about it in some of the playthroughs that in all countries, mostly countries or cultures, I guess you'd call it, there are certain tropes, not just tropes, but cliches and certain lines and things that get repeated over and over. Things every American will say, like, "I never asked for this. I didn't want this power you throw at me."
Yeah.
Things like, "Tell my kids I love them before something happens," regardless of whether you have kids.
Just if
It's
any
because
turn up, just tell them.
that's the thing you're supposed to say before you go die, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like that's what they were writing there. It's like, but John, I meant to do it. They were in my. They had
They
the
were
chance. They could
bad.
have done it. Now we've
hate
won.
them.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. We've won
Why
now.
did
It's
you do it?
over.
Why did you kill them? Because I don't like them.
No, yeah. Well, that's
Because
it.
I can. I've got a dragon. I don't give a shit.
Well, that should have been the answer.
Yeah, it should have, exactly.
But that's the thing, building up from episode to episode through the entire thing, people have pointed out as well, and it was clear at the time, Daenerys is not
a good
a
person.
nice person.
No.
She is obsessed with the throne. It's all she has ever wanted, and she's more than happy to kill, murder, torture, burn alive anybody that gets in the way.
Like, I forgot
And you
about
can
all them
see-
crucifixions. You
Yeah.
know when you just forgot?
Well, see, that's the point. They should have built this up from longer. That we all just forgot because it was convenient for us.
Yeah.
that she was, for that whole series, she was trying to manage the dispute between the slaves and the masters. They wouldn't go together, so she said, right, I'm just going to wipe one of the factions off the face of the earth, because then there's no fighting anymore. I don't have to manage the conflict if one side has just gone.
I mean, for me,
if they built this up further, where obviously she has been, and they did have the moments, like when she burned Sam's family. She destroyed their estate. That should have been.
That was sad, wasn't it?
Like, if that had been a point of where she'd said, I'm just going to burn the entire army, burn the house, burn the buildings, burn the city, burn everything.
Yeah.
They've rebelled against me. I don't have the men to spare. I don't care anymore. Your life is forfeit when you disobey me.
Yeah.
But she didn't. She murdered. The only people she killed were the head of the family, who still refused to bow the knee.
Which is reasonable.
And the
in the
son,
context.
who agreed to be burned alongside him. But if they're going to go for this mad queen burning the city alive and everything, it should have been that point where the house was surrendered. She captured him and she said, we're going to burn you,
kill them anyway.
Burn your wife, burn your kids, burn your servants, burn your buildings with everybody in them.
Yeah.
Because there has to be the point that we got to in the final episode that we'd never had before, where everyone around her, on her side, goes, why? Not, this is a bit much, I can see why you're doing it, but no, it's just, why are you doing this? What is the why? And there was never that moment. There was she gave him like 6 or 7 chances to bow to her, and he refused. And there was a point, like, he kind of forced her into that situation.
He did.
That seems weird to say, but in
way
that situation,
more than anyone else
because
did.
she was trying not to kill him with every possible opportunity. But when you've offered someone like that many times,
there was no options,
and they're still refreshing. If you then say, "Oh well, guess just go home then," like who's going to listen to you after that? Why would anyone not rebel against you if the end response is, "Well,
okay,
better not do it next time.
Never mind.
Better not do that again, or I'll be very cross." She had to kill him.
Personally,
at that point.
for me though,
There should have been. She didn't have to kill, and she did.
Was I that bothered about Daenerys anyway?
Or there was never any reason to kill, and
Can't
she did.
say I wanted her to win that much anyway. The only reason that I really liked Daenerys was because she had the dragons. And it could have been any character for me. It wasn't her specifically. It could have been literally anyone with 3 dragons. I'd have gone, yes, that team, please. Because I'd want the dragons.
See, there's another very common anime thing. In fact, not as much in a lot of animes, in shonens, because it tends to come down to the one-on-one hero-verse thing.
Yeah, I like that.
But I feel there should have been a point where, at Winterfell, they realised what they were up against and they fled. There's then a couple of attempts to defend other places, and it fails. Every time they learn something else, they learn the Night King, or he can send them forward, but he can't control them once they're in battle, or he can ride the dragon, but he can't shoot something like that, or stuff like that, while he's doing it at the same time. And then they're actually at the point where they're at the gates of King's Landing, having been pushed that far back, and Cersei says, no,
can't come in.
You can't come in. You wanted to fight them, you go fight them, we'll stand here. And Daenerys then goes, right, burn, everything burn.
Yeah.
We're coming in whether you want us or not. And then she does the whole burns the gates, burns the way through, burns the Red Keep.
But it's never fell, apparently.
It never fell, apparently. It seemed quite easy. I mean, did the guys with the dragons the first time not think?
And we all know the dragons they had were enormous.
Yeah, they were huge monsters.
Yeah, they were.
So,
I mean, their dragons were big. Drogon's big. But...
And then at that final battle of Winterfell, when there should have been Tyrion, the Spider, and Littlefinger all in the keep, what's left of it, Jon and everybody else fighting on the front line, and then Arya and other people behind the scenes, so there'd be 3 battles going on. There'd be kind of Jon and the main army fighting the White Walkers, trying to get the way through. There would then be Varys and Littlefinger battling, manipulating other things. Like, one of them wanting to say, using Arya to kill people who were a potential threat.
Yeah.
I feel Bronn could have been in this. Like, Bronn, there should have been...
Everyone likes Bronn.
And by the way, that's why he was in it. He wasn't in the story originally. He wasn't in the books. It's what George R. R. Martin mentioned when he'd said he wasn't happy with last series, because one of the things is they tried to fit people in because they were popular and they got ratings on TV. Not sorry. Bronn's whole reason for being in it is because people think Bronn's awesome.
Well, yeah,
and he is. He is. He's cool.
I liked him in.
But he kind of teleported into Winterfell, threatened the brothers, and then teleported out, and then kind of isn't seen until the joke in the last episode.
What was that other thing?
Like, there should have been a point there where he
what was it?
Game of Thrones always has. He's in loads of stuff. He's in Whitechapel. He's in.
Ripper Street.
Ripper Street.
Ripper Street. He was good in that.
He's good in that. He's good in everything.
He
He's
did
a good
bare
actor.
knuckle boxing in that as well.
He did, yeah. He's a good actor. He's a good. He's fun character and everything.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But he didn't really have a place in this series, and he's another
That's
one
fine.
that they thought we need to have him, but I don't know where.
Do you know what? That's fine with me.
It bugs me, especially since they could have had. You know, he was working for Cersei, right?
Yeah. Well.
He's gone to Winterfell, where one of Robert Baratheon's bastards is working for them.
They don't know that though, I'm assuming.
But they should have known that. That's the point.
How
That's the
would they
kind
know?
of thing that Littlefinger would have found out and used to his own ends.
But he was on their side, so he wouldn't.
No, but he should have found that out, manipulated it to try and play their own factions against them to further himself. That's the kind of thing that would have happened in old Game of Thrones. And there should have been where Arya then is ordered to kill him. And she won't kill him. And so somebody orders them both to run away somewhere where they then find someone else. Like this kind of behind-the-scenes games playing that would have been good, but that couldn't happen because Littlefinger was dead and Varys had no purpose left. I've got my own whole version of what I wanted the end of the series to be, and
I can tell.
I've had a week and a half to stew on it, and I've got an amazing story that would have been better.
Well,
than
too bad because it's done.
And they're not going to remake it.
Of course they're not.
They're not going to remake
And
it.
I think that is a bit dodgy doing that personally, but
I think
people will do what they want.
I think there's a weird thing that celebrities have, which is where they think it's disrespectful to ask you to do your job again if you've done it wrong the first time.
No, but they didn't do it wrong. It was the writing. It wasn't the actors individually.
Nobody's blaming the actors. Everybody loves the actors. In fact, we're collecting pictures of the actors where they clearly know how bad the thing they're in is. Yeah. Everybody's got a clip or a story or something. What's he called? Who plays Tyrion? Jamie Lannister.
It's one of Jamie Lannister.
Where he goes,
yeah, that's how.
There's one of Tyrion.
Yeah,
where he looks
I always wanted to die.
There's one where Tyrion looks like he's being held hostage, and he's got a script that he's been told. And what do you think of last season Game of Thrones? I think it's great. The actors did a really good job. The writing was really good. I'm really happy to be in it. It's like that, yeah. It's like a hostage video.
Oh, it's fine. I think people just need to simmer down. It's done now. It's over.
I don't think anybody really expects it to be made. I think it's because you can, there are things on Twitter where news sites will say, look, these people are angry, here's a tweet. But it means nothing. 1.5 million people putting their name to a piece of paper, their actual name on a proper website, to say, this is so bad, I would rather
really
it be remade from
though.
Scratch than have this as it is.
See, I think that's unfair. It's not that bad. It's really not. People are taking it way too far.
In of itself, it's bad. In the context of 10 years of paying for Sky Atlantic and Now TV to watch this, and that this is the ending, I'm annoyed.
Well, yeah, and I think everyone's entitled to be annoyed, but in the grand scheme of things...
And I'm not even that bad, because I didn't start...
Shut up!
I didn't start till 4 seasons in.
In the grand scheme of things, it is still one of the best series ever made.
Would you still recommend it to people?
Yeah, 100%.
I would as well.
It's excellent.
I would...
And to be honest, I am tempted to watch it from the start and watch it all together, because I think I might feel differently then.
I would recommend it still, but I would preface it with this kind of tails off toward the end.
Yeah.
So be ready for that. But there's still enough moments.
But there is no way people shouldn't watch it.
You know what? First 4 seasons, really.
They're really good.
Is some of the best that's on telly you can watch anywhere.
And that's the thing, when you set a bar so high, it is hard to maintain that, especially over however many years it's been on. You need to take it with a pinch of salt, I think. People are taking it too far.
It does make me a bit dubious about the upcoming Star Wars films. That the first 6
seasons...
we're
not talking about Star Wars films.
No, but because the new series of Star Wars that are made after this trilogy are being directed by the 2 directors of this, and their ability to write the show seemed to diminish significantly when they didn't just have George R.R. Martin's books to copy off.
Well, he should have wrote them a bit quicker then, shouldn't he? Instead of sat on his arse.
Did you see? Yeah. There's 2 things on that. One, have you seen that old sketch where they showed George R.R. Martin hard at work, like a documentary thing, and where he's just playing pool, or he's washing his shoes, he goes he starts building a car, and so he's literally doing anything except writing
other than writing Game of Thrones. Yeah, exactly. So he can't say anything, no one can say anything, but
the other thing he has said is that he's a con in Australia at the end of the year, I think, and he's said that if he hasn't got the 7th book written by the time he's there, we have his permission to lock him on an island surrounded by a river of acid until he's done it. Assuming, of course, the acid doesn't affect
about that,
his ability to write or affect his processor that he uses. He's great. I like George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, that's a thing about internal consistency that builds up. Is a thing that stories have to have. Game of Thrones often has it.
One a bit.
In the last season, all the characters' behaviour kind of flips.
Yeah, one a bit weird, didn't it?
It needs a central theme that runs through. The central themes they had established don't really exist anymore in the last episode, which is annoying. It has a lot of things of...
It was good cinematic value. The scenes were good, it was shot well.
The CGI, the camera guys did well.
That whole, emphasising how awful what Daenerys was doing.
I think there's some really forced metaphors as well.
It was fine.
I don't know why they bothered with the White Horse for Arya.
No, it was a bit random.
It's a Horseman of the Apocalypse, isn't it? Death rides in.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently it was. And the little kid that died that she was trying to help on a horse.
See, yeah, that's
as well.
I mean, fine. Why Horseman of the Apocalypse metaphors in Game of Thrones all of a sudden?
I don't know.
After 8 years worth, 10 years worth.
Not sure.
I don't know. It would have been okay if it was a Game of Thrones thing.
I mean,
I'm fairly certain in all the different religions of Westeros there must be something about death riding in on or something that they could have used instead.
But then we'd have had to have conscious of that as well. It had to have been something that was used before or, in place already, because otherwise it would mean nothing. Which it kind of did.
Well, I mean, Arya would have been the obvious thing with the, what do we say to the god of death? Not today. Or,
whatever.
All that kind of stuff. That would have been better.
Oh well.
It's not.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Fortunately. End of an era.
How do you feel about it compared to other fantasy stuff that you likely Berserk that we've rewatched recently?
I mean, it's never going to be as
this
good as
case. In the ending for this is the ending of the original manga being the Advent, the
Golden Age arc. I mean,
yeah, the eclipse at the end of the Golden.
I mean, it depends what you're expecting of something as well.
Yeah.
Whereas the first time I watched Berserk, I was just like, what the hell is going on? You thought it was going to be about this medieval group of knights that would, and then suddenly there were big insect vagina monsters eating everyone.
Yeah.
And it was like, and you felt like you had whiplash a little bit. You were like, what?
Yeah. Where did that come from? I felt the same.
In the grand scheme of things, if people thought they were going to have a good ending, then they'd missed the whole point.
Oh, hey, there's another
that wasn't going to happen.
Set of quotes. Ramsay Bolton. I think this story has a happy ending. You haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless, of course, you're a named character, and then most of you have a somewhat happy ending.
I mean,
all men
must
must
see
die.
Griffith's downfall coming.
Yeah.
A mile away.
George R. R. Martin.
Because no one is that good at everything, and that there has to be something that their weakness. Everyone has one.
Oh, some people are, but yeah, nobody's perfect.
Everyone has a weakness though, and his was obviously
Guts,
which I don't really get.
It's good. Well,
I mean, don't get me wrong, Guts is my favourite character ever. He is, but I don't. It's hard for me to understand it. Really.
Before we continue this conversation, because we're now going to the second part. What have we done this week? We watched Berserk, guys.
Obviously.
I'm going to end though on one quote from George R. R. Martin when people had complained in season 4 or 5 that all the characters they died, and he said, "People always complain, why are you always killing off characters that we love? What part of Valar Morghulis don't you people understand?"
Yeah.
There should have been more death in the final episode.
Oh well.
That I think we can all agree on that.
Oh.
But what have we done this week?
What you gonna do?
We watched Berserk.
We get to this point every year where we think, should we watch?
What should we watch?
Berserk, yeah.
We've got something. We've got time. We're not watching anything. We're not doing anything. Should we watch a new film? Should we start a new series? Should we read some books? We've loads of books we haven't read. No, let's watch Berserk.
Yeah, we always end up watching Berserk.
It doesn't matter what we read or watch or play. It sounds good as Berserk. We won't like it as much. Berserk's amazing. I can't wait for the new series to come out. It's really, really close.
I don't know.
The manga, that is,
Judgment.
not the anime, obviously.
Reserving judgment over most of it. The original 90s anime, absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
Best intro to any anime that there is.
I'm not sure it is.
Everyone knows that.
I'm not sure it is.
It's fantastic. Excellent songs.
I like it.
Great. But you need to listen to it a few times before you appreciate it's good. Because I remember the first time I watched it, I was a bit traumatised and just thought, I can't hear that again or I'll die. But then after about 6 episodes, I was like, this is great. I downloaded it on my phone as a ringtone. So that's how good it is.
Tweeted a few days ago that there must be a word for people defending shitty media because they liked it as a kid. Because it happens too often for not to have it. I've watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles recently. I still love the Ninja Rap by Vanilla Ice.
No one likes that.
It's not good. I'll be the first to admit.
No.
But I love it.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be good for you to like something. People need to stop thinking this is a correlation, because it isn't.
No, it isn't.
People are fully aware something is awful, but they still like it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Isn't that what all cheesy pop is? They're not good songs, but people like them.
Yeah.
It's not. Why does it matter?
It's also the association with what it is, isn't it? It's like with the Berserk theme tune. If it was just a song, we would hate it. It's because it's the Berserk intro.
And it's hilarious.
I like the Ninja Rap because it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 film theme tune.
And it's funny because there's this big giant man who finds no joy in anything, doing some kind of modelling scene.
Some kind of Pet Shop Boys photo shoot.
Which is exactly what I needed. That was a gap in my life that I couldn't find.
I never knew existed.
And then
until
there it was. Yeah. It was right there in front of me.
That's a good metaphor for what good writing is, actually.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Something that you didn't know you needed, and then you watched it, you were like...
Yeah. You didn't
there
know
it is.
you wanted it until you saw it.
Which is how I felt about Fate Zero as well.
Berserk, by the way, is in this category of very well written things because it's building
Berserk
up of themes and characters and relationships. It's second to none. It has the best villain in anything, I would argue, in Griffith.
Yeah, because it's
he's
always
wrong.
Excellent to see the progression of why someone's evil.
Yeah, there is.
Which is why I like the original Star Warses. Not the
prequels.
The prequels, that's the word. Because I like to understand. If I can understand it, I can get on board a bit better. I mean, they're evil because they're evil, like Maleficent. Yeah. That's fine too.
I'm perfectly happy with that.
But I do like to see why somebody's evil.
Yeah.
It fills lots of gaps.
I mean,
And now you care. You care what happens.
Yeah.
Because you've watched them be friends, caring about each other, and now they can't bear the sight of each other. But you know why, and it's fine.
And to me, it's maybe it's because of our generation. We watched the prequels when we were kids, so we defend them, so we like them.
Phantom Menace is the best Star Wars film.
It is not.
Don't at me.
It's not even.
It's
not even the best in the prequels.
Jar Jar Binks is the best character.
Maybe we just defend them because it was our generation.
No, Qui-Gon's the best character. Everyone knows that.
But to me, there's a lot of it's badly written.
Oh, shush.
A lot of it's badly directed.
What? In the prequels?
Yes, some of the CGI is actually worse than the original trilogy. This is why I'm going on and on about good and bad writing. Because the core story, the thing, because everything... There's two levels to every piece of media you consume, right? There's the finished product, which is the combination of two things, which is the story and the thing that's like the soul, if you like, of that piece of media, and then the actual presentation of it.
Yeah. The
translation of those ideas and concepts into an actual physical, watchable, readable thing.
Yeah. Because you might have a good idea, but if you can't...
That superficial part of the top,
something.
how it looks and how it sounds and how it feels in the prequels is not very good, by and large.
Lies.
The acting is mediocre.
I swear to God, if you even start on Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan...
I can't fault Qui-Gon, he's Liam Neeson.
And would all of that have happened if he had died?
No.
If he hadn't died, would that have happened?
Well, see,
you might as well just stop Star Wars right there.
This is the point.
Because he wouldn't have let any of that shit happen.
The point I'm getting at is it's really badly presented a lot of the time.
No, it isn't.
And the story doesn't flow as well as it should.
Shut up, I like it.
But the core ideas underneath the development of Anakin as this like prophesied
Pod
child,
racing.
the creation of this like prophesied child who's found
Yeah, it's a good story, man.
not on a whim, because of course Palpatine orchestrated everything
Ooh.
in the right order. This megalomaniacal character who can't just take power with force.
Yeah.
Even if he's as powerful as he is, he can't beat everything, so he has to try and wangle his way through. And the undermining of democracy with this like miracle child that's being brought through.
It's sad, really.
Going through playing off all the factions again. That story underneath is really interesting. And watching Anakin's development from purest, nicest kid you could ever meet, most gifted child in a bad situation, finds his way out, excels at everything, gets better and better. But then you find this like greed and anger in him that ultimately corrupts him so much that that he becomes unstoppable and evil by the end. And then all to do with the Emperor manipulating him until you get to the original series where he then rediscovers that innocent self through meeting his child and eventually betrays the Emperor and fixes it.
Yes.
That underlying story is really, really good. It's not presented as well in the prequels.
Stop talking!
My comparison is the new trilogy.
I think it's fine. It makes sense. Again, it fills a gap. And why they started in the middle in the first place is beyond me.
Well, they wrote the originals first.
No, but that's what I mean. Why they started making the films in the middle?
No.
Oh, this would make a better story.
The original films were written first. And
No,
the
they
prequels are written
weren't.
now. They were. They are prequels in that sense. They were.
Well,
written
they
after.
said that they started in the middle because it made a better story.
He may have had the ideas in the first place and he thought this was more, but they were written as in full first. But what I was going to say is the comparison to the new trilogy, which maybe it's a generational thing, but is well presented because it's got big Disney money behind it, so it's going to be. CGI is good.
Oh, Disney on everything now.
But the story underneath and the characters underneath it are horse shit.
Yeah, I'm not even going to start because
We're not going to go into it
it drives me insane.
because it's too
And
long,
I
it's so annoying.
cannot deal with it. quite
Everything you
frankly.
hate about The Force Awakens, and especially The Last Jedi, I feel it too. I feel it worse than you feel it. I hate it more than you hate it.
I just don't even want to talk about it in the same breath as the Phantom Menace because it's nowhere near.
Stop talking about The Phantom Menace.
I'm sorry, right?
Okay.
Pod races, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn,
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, the best villain ever, Darth Maul, who got such a raw deal.
That's what I was going to say. Dan.
He is oh my god, we went as him for Halloween every year when we were kids because he was just that good.
He has 15...
Everyone had a double ender, didn't they, when we were kids? He was
That's
just
what we
the
called him.
best.
He has 15 minutes of screen time, and it's so much better than the 3 and a bit
And when
hours
they open them
that Kylo Ren
doors,
has in the new
when they
series.
open them doors and he's there, you're like, oh, it's just the best.
So yeah, that should
So
have
that's
been...
why it's the best one. Anyone. I don't care.
I love a good
Tell me
throwdown.
I'm wrong. Don't care. yeah, I do. Yeah. it's just too good.
It's the Yakuza moment when somebody walks up in front of... When there's the huge army behind both of you, and the whole army's just walk off and do something else, and Kiryu and Goro throw off the jacket.
Yeah, that's what
It's
it was. Yeah.
We're doing this.
And it's we'll handle this from here.
Let's
and it's
do this.
Yeah. Best guys.
I love that
That's why it's so good.
Yeah, the new Star Wars is shit.
Don't watch
They're
it.
badly written. I feel like there's lots of things like this now.
Don't watch it because then you'll be full of the anger about it that we are.
Don't you feel
Just avoid it altogether.
I don't know how much you're into this particular area of Twitter, social media criticism. I feel like there's an awful lot of big budget movies coming out now that are just not boring, just bad.
Yeah, it's they're throwing money at big stunt effects, big actors, all of these CGI stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's not basing it on anything. It's not
Wokeness.
basing it on a good story.
Look, we've made a remake of an old thing, but now it's a woman, black, gay, slightly different straight white man playing main character. Isn't that an interesting change?
Aren't we
No.
2019?
Exactly.
like
And that again, that would be fine. But if you didn't just think, so therefore we don't need to make them interesting,
yeah.
or well written or anything.
Just write the story and then deal with the other parts.
Don't even write the story. Just remake the exact same film as it was before. Just put like a woman as instead of the man, and don't even acknowledge it. Don't even change the name. Still have them call him Mr. X.
So that's the thing for me with the Disney
the story
remakes.
was fine.
The Disney remakes, like a lot of why Disney's good is it's so nostalgic and it's got its own feel, you know, to the animation and everything. And now they're remaking it, and it just feels like they're just pumping these films out, not working very hard, not really doing anything with them, just to make money.
I'm sure some people aren't work hard, but the studio itself, no.
I just, like the Beauty and the Beast remake, I just did not watch it on principle because the original is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And I just knew that it was going to ruin it. That it just can't be as good. The charm of the animation, that's half of what makes it as good as it is.
I was going to say, a big part of the big Disney remakes in particular bugs me is animation's kind of my hobby horse. I got into it, like...
Hobby horse?
Yeah, I like watching games and playing games, not just for the like mechanics. I like watching the mechanics and the animations in it.
Yeah.
I love watching loads of different old cartoons.
90s cartoons.
Yeah. I started watching anime because
I love 90s cartoons.
Just complete, and then there's different ones like different Chinese or Korean animation looks a bit different to typical Japanese.
Yeah.
And then there's new forms of Japanese animation. But you remember in Fate Apocrypha, in the last two scenes, the huge battle between Kana, Lancer, and Sieg.
Oh, yeah, the horseman.
Yeah, changes the art completely. It becomes really cartoonish and scribbly.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really interesting.
Well,
all the budget went to it.
When they made Blade Works.
Yeah.
When they made that into, like, is it cartoon? Is it CGI? Who knows?
I can mute that film with no subtitles and just watch it unfold.
It does look really good. Really good.
Didn't Bryce Papenbrook said, because he was Shiru.
Shiru, of course.
He claimed that the cast referred to it as unlimited budget works. Because they thought so much money to make it.
I mean, it does. It looks so good, and it's an effort that they've made, but the story isn't lacking at the expense of the good.
No.
Other things,
If
do you know what I
anything,
mean?
it's better.
The money is thrown. Like, you could say the money was thrown in every direction because someone's been paid to do a really good story and paid well.
No, so
but then someone who's made the animation has done. You know, they've done the best job they can with both aspects, which is what you want.
And if they did this with old films, like little known films, like cult classics, things that were released in maybe only in parts of Asia or South America that we never knew about, that were really cool and interesting stories with fun events or even political messages and things in it that are really relevant and intriguing to look at, and then throw all the money at the presentation of the that would be really good. But what they do is they take a film that most of us already know, throw all the money at the presentation, and then just get some guy to write the story who clearly doesn't know what he's doing. That's not all of them, obviously. I'm exaggerating.
We're doing a sweeping generalisation.
But it's a generalisation that maybe because of where I am on the Twitter sphere, seems to become more and more relevant.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Because there are some really good stories out there that can be told.
I really like.
At least they're going for manga. At least we've got things like Alita Battle Angel coming out.
Like, I really like finding
out,
shit films to watch on like Netflix. Just find something like you've never heard of.
Yeah.
You read a bit of a synopsis. You think, yeah, fine, got a monster in it. That's you know. And sometimes you stumble across a film that you actually really like. I mean, but I also enjoy shit films.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, it really poor, bad CGI, you know, because it's funny. And we have this thing about watching like 70s, 80s sci-fi films because it's so bad. To watch it back,
it's awful.
The CGI is so bad, but that's what makes it fun now. You know, they're good. Don't remake it because it's funny. It's got a whole new aspect to it now.
And most of the time, it's because if you take away that, it loses it. It never had a good story, or a good character development, or a good themes.
Fun,
but it had charm.
Yeah, exactly.
And the moment you polish it, all the charm is lost.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel like that about a lot of other like B movies, B games. A B game is something like, you remember Getting Over It? Nightfall.
Yeah.
When you have things like Quap and Clop and that people remember.
Yeah.
And there's loads of these that you find on the internet all over the place. They're made up of recycled or unused assets from other games that are just open source. That they require next to no effort.
Yeah.
By comparison with a AAA title. But they're just as fun. Like you don't need production values to make it fun, and sometimes production values can actually, if they're going in the wrong place, can make it worse.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
I guess that's all. I'm not going to keep going into the other examples of bad writing or good writing. We'll just go into what have we done this week. What have you been up to?
Not a great deal.
Alright, next. I've read, talking about it, Steins Gate Elite. I've been starting it on the Switch. It's good. Really good. It's the same story as the original. All the writing's the same, but what it was a remake of the original game, but with the CGI cutscenes from the anime on it. I assumed that meant like Berserk, where you just play the game and then it would cut to, instead of a cutscene in the game, a scene from the anime. What they've actually done is they've replaced every single scene with scenes from the anime and just reworked it.
Okay.
So all of what was before a solid background and then a sprite of a character, or an anime that would kind of like jump like that between when it's talking, like a normal visual novel. It's now like the scenes playing out from the anime in kind of stop motion, so that when you get to a scene where one character stops like that and their mouth moves as they talk, and then you press to the next line and then it moves to where they get to.
Right, okay.
It's really, really, really cool. I like it a lot. It's one of my favourite stories ever. One of my favourite games ever, which is weird because it's a visual novel.
Steins Gate is really good.
So I'm going to read that all again, but it seems awesome.
That's good.
I've also played some Devil May Cry. Not a lot more. I don't like the Bloody Palace on Devil May Cry.
What?
I don't like the way it's progressing. In the early ones, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, was my favourite one, where you had 1,000 floors of Bloody Palace. You know what Bloody Palace is? It's like waves of enemies.
Yeah,
if I remember one. This new one, you had 1,000 floors, and then every time you beat the floor, you chose how many you want to advance, whether it's 1, 10, 50, 100.
Yeah.
And it got harder ones, and you could choose how far. You could do the full 1,000 floors one after the other if you wanted. You can do it in 10 battles if you just want to go 100 floors at a time. Do it in however often you want.
Right.
This one, it's 100 floors. First 30 are fairly simple enemies on normal difficulty. The next are 30 floors on the harder enemies on the next difficulty up. Then 30 floors on the next difficulty after that.
Nice.
Not as interesting. It's just simple fight until you die, basically.
Bit of a shame.
It is a bit. It's not bad. It's still the game.
It's fine as it is.
You still play with your characters, still practice with your characters and how good they are. And it still feels amazing to play. Obviously, you need to finish the game before you do it, otherwise it's not worth it. Get all your weapons and abilities. But I'm probably not going to play Bloody Palace all that much more. We're going to keep playing Final Fantasy 15, aren't we?
Yeah, we have started playing that, actually, yeah.
What are you thinking so far?
Yeah, it's alright.
We've currently, by the way, for those who know the game, we've got the first 2 Eternal Arms.
I feel like we're running around in the desert all the time, that's all we do.
Yeah, that is a lot of it.
Like,
that is a lot of it.
I want some more scenery, I want to see someone else, and it's just feels like everything, we're just going out in the desert during the day, going back to the garage at night, go back in the desert, back to the garage, and I'm just, it's a bit like, it might feel different if you were playing it, but
a little bit different.
I just feel like I'm sick of looking at the desert and the garage.
Yeah, it's a long game for you.
I'm sick.
It's going to be a long game for you.
Do you know what I mean?
Before long, you do go to other areas, and there are mountain places, but a lot of it's quite similar. There's the odd cave that you go in that's like a forest or like a cave. You go into the city at one point, but you're not there that long. Unless you do the other side quests.
It's okay.
That's how I feel. I mean, people at the time when it came out, a lot of people were buzzing about it. Some people really didn't. A lot of people now don't like it. The feeling is it's not very good, but
it's okay.
It's fine for a first foray into like action combat in a Final Fantasy as an experiment.
Oh yeah. Like that's not a major criticism, I suppose. It's just
no.
I like progression. I don't feel like we're having any.
No.
Like even though technically we are, Doesn't feel like you're doing anything.
See, they explicitly said when they were making it as well that it was meeting styles between. It's fantasy meets reality. It's fantasy in reality is the art style. It's turn-based combat for action-based players.
Yeah.
And it does all feel like halfway between.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay.
I've played it, by the way, to the end.
I'm not the biggest fan.
Fully. I want to go back to it because I haven't seen any content that's been done since. I'm not a huge fan of it. We'll see what FF7 Remake brings. What kind of combat that's going to have. It looks more interesting, and there's more playable characters. Yeah. You can play as all the main gang, from what we can tell. We know you can at least play as...
so I don't even know if that would be interesting.
What do you mean?
I don't know if I'd find that interesting either.
Final Fantasy VII?
I mean, running around as the characters.
Oh, you mean playing as the other three? No,
yeah.
No, I probably wouldn't.
I just feel like...
well, especially...
Because they do my head in fighting with you anyway, because the fight scene, like the fight setup, annoys me anyway, because I don't know what's going on. You jump in between characters and suddenly you're controlling the guy with the big sword.
Oh, no, you're not.
And then you jump in somewhere else, and then you jump back to your character, who is in the middle of being hit.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah,
that's
like
not
fair. Turn-based combat for action players.
I don't like that.
Doesn't really work because it's not actually that. It's just
bad
action combat.
It makes me feel dizzy because it's just everywhere, and I'm like, I don't even know who I am.
Yeah. What it is just slow, slightly confusing, not very intuitive action combat.
Yeah.
It's not halfway between the two at all.
It's just not good.
I mean, what it should really be is like a turn-based combat where you choose him to go and fight something, and then you have an action battle of them fighting. And then afterwards you go back to the turn-based map. Like, that would be halfway between.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see what... FF7 is also a much better story with better characters. And the combat looks better. So maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe you'll enjoy that a lot more.
Yeah,
I finally played FF7 as well last year. I'd never played it before then. I'd not avoided the main spoiler that everybody throws at. I don't know if you want me to spoil it for you now.
I don't know anything about it whatsoever, so...
Okay, well, I won't spoil it then, just in case it is important. But... all the main bits of the story, what's supposed to be the main bits of the story, but no one talks about, I didn't know, and I found it really...
Oh, that's good.
I love FF7.
I do like it when you can... Like, we're playing Nier Automata at the minute, and I have no idea what the ending or the outcome is or anything, so...
You know what, since that's most of what we've been doing this week, you want to talk about Nier Automata? What do you think?
It's good.
Up to this point.
A lot of it is... I don't know, because...
Obviously, we're barely into the first...
Yeah, we've literally... nothing's really happened yet.
This is first impression only. But...
yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, it seems well made. I haven't seen anything yet, really. Just bits about fighting a lot of robots, haven't we?
Yeah.
So...
You were very confused when we met Adam. The humanoid robot in the cave. Remember the boss fight that we had with the one that looked like a human? And they kept saying that's a robot. Yeah.
I didn't realise his name was Adam.
It mentions it at one point. But...
yeah, that was weird. They gave birth to a man.
Yeah, all the robots crawled into a thing and then a man gave birth.
That made no sense. Overriding feelings at the moment are... yeah, but they're just robots and androids, so... why do we care? But also, why is there so much gunk inside them?
I'm certain it's
like
because...
in Alien, when they smashed the robot man who was trying to kill her, all that white gunge is everywhere. Why is there white gunge in every robot?
My thought is that if they're trying to make them more human, they need to make the physiology like humans, so they've got a blood substitute.
But for what purpose, though, in a robot?
Presumably to deliver electronics.
I
assume electronics travels faster through liquid than through... or whether it is what their physiology look like. If they're made of silicon, they might need a different powering to a plug. I don't know.
They don't look like they're made of silicon.
We don't know what they're made of. They've clearly got metal underneath them. But I don't know what the outer layers...
someone needs to explain why there's so much gunk, because when you're fighting a mass of those little wind-up robot men, there's just gunge everywhere.
Those, I think it's just oil.
Why is there so much in there?
Lubricant, that's what you need.
Oh no.
When robots' arms and things are moving a lot, especially into each other and across each other, you need to lubricate.
What I always think as well is heat.
What about?
Is it like a
Could
cooling
be a
system?
coolant. Probably needs coolant. As well.
But I don't know.
There's lots of things that could be.
But yeah, that's all we've done so far. All we've done really is fight some robots. There's been not much story progression whatsoever. Other than that you can be uploaded into another robot, like of you, when you die or get broke.
What was the last thing?
Sometimes you don't remember it all.
Yeah.
Because your last autosave was ages ago. I don't know, like...
In the game, uploading
yeah.
the save data, not our actual autosave that the game was crashing, because we haven't had that issue yet.
No, I mean the actual robots in the game uploading themselves.
But
that's about it so far.
We'll see where we go with it. Hopefully, by the time we finish it, we'll do another podcast of your full thoughts on the game.
I've seen loads of people say that it's the best game ever. You know, not for reasons. I haven't seen reasons necessarily.
Yeah,
but I'm hoping a lot of that's to do with the story element.
it is.
Because
100%.
I find if stories, you know, I like an answer.
Yeah.
I mean, open endings are fine if it's like something you're planning to continue.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fine. But like I told you, the one I always reference is The Evil Within.
Yeah, that's all.
I just honestly.
That's
I
not
felt,
an open ending. That's just we
do you know what
got
I felt
to nearly
like?
the ending and then stopped writing.
I felt like I had an itch inside me.
Yeah.
That is why it was like it was so annoying. I felt that I could not itch it because I couldn't tell myself what an answer was because there was nothing and it
you know
made
what?
no sense.
I'll give proper props to The Evil Within 2 for actually addressing and trying to answer some of them.
Yeah.
To the point where it's like, it's not fixed.
I like The Evil Within 2 actually.
I love it. It's really good.
It's good.
It's what they wanted Evil Within 1 to be, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
They clearly didn't have the budget.
And don't get me
or
wrong,
time
I
or
enjoyed The Evil Within
it's fun.
when it was happening.
It's fun.
Up until I realised there wasn't going to be an
going
answer.
nowhere. This is going
and
nowhere.
then the credits just rolled. And I was sat there thinking,
Also, we never played the DLC, so maybe it answered it in then.
I don't think it did.
I don't think it did, but we'll find. Maybe we'll find out.
To be honest, Scott, we didn't play the DLC because I didn't want more bits I didn't understand because I was so annoyed about
I
the
know
beginning
nothing
part.
about the DLC either, but my instinct
wanna know.
says it's not even the main character. It's nothing to do with it.
Sebastian.
Sebastian.
He was cool.
He is.
And I like all the sneaking about and all those. I like that type
the
of
Resident
mechanic.
Evil combat. And
Yeah, I
stuff.
like that. It's cool.
But yeah,
And people can't just rush it. You know, you have to be quite good at it, or at least making an effort.
yeah.
You can't just rush those type of games, which I like.
It's another thing. I might do a bunch more of these like little talks where I just discuss things about games or movies and stuff that I like, just for my own benefit. One of them is resource management in games is hard to do right. But Evil Within 2 and 1 do it. It's one of the things they both get right really well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You've always got just enough to get through.
And I
Never
always
more
think,
or less. Never so much that you're comfortable, but never so little that you're stuck.
like in games where you walk through a door and there's like a pile of 200 like health balls or whatever,
Yeah,
and you think, okay, right,
Okay, yeah.
what's happening here? Something
boss
big,
fountain is the phrase they
something
use.
big, yeah, it's gonna go down.
This is a boss fountain.
I like the having to look after your resources
Yeah.
because if you don't have to look after them, well, what's the point?
I also think
You're not
that's-
managing the game, then, are you?
No.
So that's a bit annoying.
Well,
when
yeah,
you
if
do
you've
that.
got too much, then you're not as scared of the enemies because you can just unload on
Yeah,
them.
exactly. So why do you care if you die?
Was it-
You know what I mean? Like,
I've got an explosive arrow that will take out almost anything, but I only have one. So I can't use it on anything unless I absolutely have to.
yeah.
And maybe not even then. Because what if I need it more next
Yeah,
time?
exactly. You don't know when you'll need it the most.
I also find I didn't get that impulse as much in the Evil Within. I don't know why. It must be something about the way it was built up that because you never have enough ammo and everything, maybe that. Like in Resident Evil, all I ever used was a pistol most of the time.
Yeah.
I didn't really use the shotgun much at all because shotgun bullets were rarer, and my pistol was fine. But Evil Within, I used everything I had because I had to. Even the crossbow, which seemed like a gimmick thing.
I like a good crossbow. I'm not very good at them, but I like them.
No, I like them. They're a
I don't
strange
use them
thing.
too well.
They don't repeat. There's no such thing as a repeating crossbow.
No, there isn't.
I'm going to tell everyone this every time it's possible because every game has them and they're not real.
How would a
How would it
crossbow
work?
repeat?
How would it work?
Tell me that.
How does it load?
But if anyone can tell us why axes sometimes have one on each side, that would be good. We'd like to know that.
Yeah.
You know when you have an axe and then it's got the shape on one side?
Axe both those
Why
sides.
does it have on both sides?
Why? You only ever cut with the side that you're swinging.
Unless you like hitting enemies in front and
But
behind.
nobody goes like that. And even
Not
then,
like
look,
this.
even then, as I'm swinging it, I'm twisting my arms so it's the same side as
yeah.
every time. Because you can't go like holding it straight and just.
Answers on a postcard,
That's silly.
because we have no idea. And we would love to know.
I don't know where that came from, but it's in my head.
It's one of those things you realise out of nowhere. You think,
Yeah.
why is that a thing?
I suppose we should talk about Maze Runner too.
Yeah.
New favourite film for you.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. You loved it.
No, I
I
didn't.
saw how happy you were all the way
No. I only watched it because I thought there was going to be a Minotaur in it.
through. That's because I said that's what happens in a maze.
Exactly, and I was like, get in.
But no, there wasn't. It's just a big book.
Yeah. A metal one. Again, with gunge in it.
Again, yeah. Gun.
Why?
Insects have guns.
Answers on a postcard.
Insects have guns. Why do robot insects have guns?
No idea.
I don't know.
That was rubbish, man. I hate that. Oh, look, we're here because of this. It's actually just a game that someone's created.
Well, that's okay if you
No,
start.
it's not.
That's okay if
It's
you're
never okay.
a gladiator arena.
No.
We're here because someone's forcing us to. Fine.
No. Sorry.
Stick with it though.
No. Oh, look, the world's ended when we got outside.
Oh yeah, that's a weird.
Who'd have thought
That was
it?
a weird bombshell to drop 10 minutes before the end of the film. That meant nothing because we had no idea what the world was like outside from the
And
beginning.
I didn't understand why that guy had such a problem with the main character.
Which guy? Oh, the other one in the camp.
Yeah, why? What
Because the script.
Oh,
said
right. Yeah, exactly. He hated him from day one.
Maybe
from
the
the second
books
he woke
built
up,
it up more so
and it
we
made
didn't
no
see it.
sense.
Maybe the books built it up more so we didn't see it. Who knows? Maybe they were sticking to the book but didn't
And
have
there was a
time.
particular part which annoyed me, where a man got stung, whilst in the woods,
Oh yeah, and
and
what's
then they
happened
went,
to him?
"He's been stung," and then we went,
Oh, okay.
by what? What's he been stung by?
And the main character went,
He's been stung.
oh, okay.
Is it
And then left.
what? And then
Follow up?
it took a good 20 minutes before we even realised there was insects in the programme.
We kind of took it and went, well, I guess it's an insect then, because what else?
But they said it as if, oh, not a sting. It was like a thing, a really bad thing that could happen in there.
Well, no, it's
But
not
there
even
there
just.
wasn't anything there.
It's not even just that. It's like
And they were all too scared to go in the labyrinth anyway.
it's not like a thing where you say, "What's happened to him?" Oh, he's been shot. Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
that's
'cause
what you get shot by a gun.
That's an answer in
Because if
itself.
someone says, "What was he shot by?" You go, "A gun."
It could be an arrow.
Yeah.
But ultimately they've been shot. And
Stung
that's
is
fine.
too vague a phrase to use
Yeah.
without a follow-up or explanation.
Because it could have been a big giant nettle.
It could have been anything.
Could have been a plant.
It could have been a colloquialism for stabbed.
We didn't know.
We didn't know.
We didn't know there was insects even in the programme. Because we were expecting, like we said, a Minotaur
I'm disappointed.
of some description. Not
Also-
a weird, creepy bug
Also,
thing.
why? I mean, there's lots of it has lots of unanswered questions, but all of which were brought up right at the end, seemingly for no good reason.
Yeah.
Like, why
I-
did they build the huge maze to test these people who were immune to the disease when the kids clearly aren't immune to the disease because it keeps killing them when they're in the maze? Was that a different disease?
Yeah, what was,
Was
the
the
sting?
disease never an issue in the first place? Were they not immune?
Was the sting the disease? But then if it was the disease, then they're not immune?
No, and they had the
Or
cure.
did they just
Because they kept
create...
giving them the cure.
So why did they do that? Maybe it was just like another obstacle.
Was it all a lie?
But it was a bit over the top if it was an obstacle.
And what are they testing them against if they're already, they're immune and how to fix it? If you've already got a cure, why are you researching the people who are immune?
I mean, spoilers again. When
I don't think
Chunky
this is spoiling it at all.
Chuff died, I can't remember what his name
Oh,
was. It was
Fat
Chunk or
Kid.
Chuff or
Fat Kid.
something. That was a bit sad. His character development was the only one that they bothered with.
That's another one. It feels like an
That
Americanism.
he didn't know who
is
his
that
family was, and because obviously none of them could remember. But he was sad about that, and no one else seemed to really care.
it's one of them. I think everybody who's doing that kind of survival, like usually kids, mostly boys, we just have to copy Lord of the Flies. There has to be an antagonist who wants to just kill people, goes mental,
That's what I don't get
and
it.
kills main character's best friend. And it
He's
doesn't
been
matter if it
stung
makes any
though,
sense.
hasn't he?
Well, do you know? I know, but do you
At
remember
the
before
end.
they got away from him and he left him behind?
How did he get past them insects by himself?
The script.
Oh, they stung him though.
Oh well, that's fine. They stung him once, then thought, job is done. Let him through. No. He has to turn up at the end because the
But then they'd all pretended they'd all died as well, all the people doing the experiment. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Was it just so that the kids would go with you? But then why not just take them anyway? What are they going to do? You've got machine guns. They've got a stick. But, and again, all of this, if they just had an open ending where you have, they get out of the maze and you see the desert world where there's nothing,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, that'd have been okay too.
Fine. We were in there to protect us.
Do you know what bothered me, actually?
The insects keep out the thing that's outside. They just also kill you.
The
and
thing
it's
that
safer
bothered
in
me
with
as
them
well.
than it is out with
Do you
the other
remember
thing.
when
That's fine.
those people ran in at the end and rescued them
Yeah.
on the helicopter, right? And then we were like, oh, they could have just flown the helicopter and saved them all this time because we didn't realise what the crack
Didn't
was.
realise what the crack was.
But also, those kids don't know what the actual crack is. We saw it, but they didn't. The
Yeah.
kids in the film. So why didn't they go? Why didn't you just fly in and get us then?
And they don't ask those sort of questions.
Yeah,
these are
wouldn't
kids
that be the
who, when someone
literal?
says he's been stung, go, oh, okay.
Right.
Also, when the girl was brought in and they lift her up on the thing and they go, it's a girl. I thought that would be more like relevant in some way.
Yeah, it wasn't relevant that she was a girl.
She's not even in it after that.
No.
She turns up, like she kicks a guy once. I think that's.
It was to jog his memory that he worked for them originally, I think.
She was
wasn't it?
in the room when the other guy woke up a bit later on. And then she told them he woke up. But
Oh, Lewis from the Bill.
yeah, Lewis from the Bill.
Yeah, Lewis from the Bill was in it.
The actor played Lewis in the show called The Bill.
The Bill's excellent
That's
as well.
the beginning and end of that story.
Yeah, that's literally that was the only take-home thing from
And then
the Maze Runner.
And then yeah, I know it was a 12, and the book's probably made. I don't know if the book goes into it anymore. I haven't read it. As I
No,
said.
we haven't read it.
It feels like in a group of teenage boys who have lived with nothing but teenage boys for 3 years.
Would be more excited about a girl.
Would be more excited. Would be more aggressive. Would be. I mean, anything other than kind of just ignoring her. Like, as soon as they got her down from the tower when she was freaking out and stuff, they were just like, "Oh, okay,
Oh, okay, now it's fine.
there's another one
Yeah.
to join the group."
Yeah. It was lackluster.
It did, yeah.
And don't promise me a Minotaur and then not give me
They
a
didn't
Minotaur.
promise a Minotaur.
Well, you know,
He's
any
in the
film-
labyrinth, not a maze.
No, he was in a maze, not a labyrinth. No.
He was in the labyrinth. This was a maze.
Oh, right, yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a shame.
I still want a Minotaur.
Yeah, I do.
Sorry, that's my takeaway.
Yeah.
I want a Minotaur, and I want either answer the questions or don't ask them at all because none of them
Exactly.
are relevant. None of them.
Because
are
I'll just
anything
be
different.
angry about it.
There's also talking about twists at the end like that. That sometimes they make the difference. That turned not good, but basically alright film into a worse film. Because it asked us questions at the end that didn't need to exist. We watched Game of Thrones, obviously we talked about. I feel like the ending turned a really good show into a kind of meh.
Yeah.
We watched The Visit, which is a film by M. Night Shyamalan. It does the same that all M. Night films, which is a big twist at the end that then changes the
Oh,
film.
come on, it's a good film.
It's an okay film.
We enjoyed it, come on.
This is the point. Oh, I enjoyed it, but this is the point. Imagine spoilers for The Visit. Turns out it's not their grandparents. It's psychopaths who've killed their grandparents, who they do,
And took their place.
and then
Because they worked at the psychopath hospital.
yeah.
Can you call them that?
Imagine like we watched it the other night. Think through the whole film on your mind now. Imagine that twist doesn't happen. It turns out their grandparents are just crazy. How good is that film?
Not good.
Not good at all.
Yeah, the twist was good, I liked it.
All M. Night films are like that. The twist is like it's basically not even a film. It's just watching people talk to some slightly mentally ill people.
But it is good in that it kept thinking, is this weird or are they just old?
Yeah.
Quite a lot of it was that, and to be fair, a lot of it could be
you start
attributed
to
to that.
You know what? Yeah,
You
maybe.
start
That.
thinking,
And they had actually
maybe
good
not.
reasons for it. They had good descriptions for what was happening.
Yeah, they did, They thought it through.
It's an M. Night film. It's good.
It makes us laugh.
It makes me laugh. Particularly when I realise why it's not scary at all for me.
Scott being like 6'3".
Nearly 6'3", How much do I weigh? Like 200 pounds.
So he'd just go there, realise they'd killed his grandparents, so they were dead in the basement.
They'd run at me angrily with the knife, coming to like murder me. I'd hit them once and they would die.
So then the police would turn up and it'd just be Scott stood with 4 dead old people.
And the best defence I could muster to give to these officers is, I only killed 2. The other 2 were dead when I got here, I promise.
And I killed them because they were pretending to be my grandparents who are also dead.
I had to, officer. I had no choice. I had to protect myself.
And they're like, but Scott, you're this giant man. And these are little frail old people.
I mean, they went out their way to say the granddad's like built like a wrestler. He's
They
a big
did
guy.
say that.
But
They did,
he's
yeah.
still not as big as me.
Still an old man.
Look at bones here. This is me. Without... Look how big this is. This is my frame, but without the muscle.
So now we can't watch it.
I
Not
can't watch it
laughing.
anymore. I can watch a horror film with vampires and werewolves because they would probably kill me.
Yeah.
Elderly people, they're not a threat to me.
Or at least not if they came at you head on.
And
They might surprise you. They could jump out at you or something.
I
but-
don't think they could. I really don't. I know you could put yourself into the minds of the characters in it. They're small,
Yeah,
they're
they were
weak,
kids. They were little kids, to be fair.
but I just can't anymore.
Now we watch it to have a bit of a laugh as well.
It's
really
too
now.
far removed. In fact, I think if I was in that kid's body, I think my speed advantage over them would be enough that I could beat them.
Scott thinks he would win no matter what, though. He always like, I'd kill them. I'd do that. I'd get out of that. Like, no, you wouldn't.
No,
You'd die. The script.
The script. They're the script. The script is a good. The script is the most powerful
script.
weapon we have
It is.
as a human in
Yeah,
film.
it's true.
Anyway, if you can
It
rewrite
can
the
answer
script,
any
you
question.
can do anything. You can do anything if the script says so. Ask Ray.
Oh, yeah. No, we agreed. We're not talking about that.
That's not how the Force works until it is. Anyway,
And then it is.
and then it just is.
So basically, to sum up, good writing.
I'm a super powerful Jedi.
Shut
Sith.
up.
My main power that no one
No.
else can do is I can stop a bullet in midair.
Stop
Next time I am ever shot at, I get shot in the ribs.
Takes Luke years in a swamp to learn what the Force is and how to use it. Ray just hears about it on the grapevine and then can mind control a stormtrooper.
Anakin, miracle child made of the Force, born with no father. 10 years in universe years to use a mind trick. Luke Skywalker, son of Darth Vader, most powerful Jedi ever, last hope for the Force. 10 years in universe to learn to
In a
use it.
swamp.
Rey, some kid who you haven't seen The Last Jedi yet.
Yeah, you don't even know who she is at this point.
They do a full reveal on it where Kylo Ren goes, I knew who your parents were, I know who you are. Do you want to know? Do you really want to know? Nobody. They're just junk people. Yeah, they build it up
So,
how long did she take to use the Force?
oh my god.
2 days after she didn't learn that it was even a thing.
Right.
Never
We're-
known a Jedi.
we're
Never met a
dropping-
Jedi.
Stop.
Never heard of the Force. She was told the Force was
The
real.
Force, what's that?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Move on. Get the lightsaber. It won't come up again. I promise. Oh, it came up. Hang on. I'm going to use the Force to trick this Jedi. Because that's how it works. It's a power that you have that you then unlock, and then you can just do it. It's not a thing you have to train. It's not a thing you have to practice.
Apparently not. If you ask creators of the new Star Wars films.
Why Luke, when he was supposed to be 16, 17, was too young to start training. Why? All he has to do is get bumps on the head and then he can do everything he can ever do in the world. Apparently.
Right, stop.
Stupid film.
Stop, or you never will.
What was your follow-up on good writing?
I was just going to say, to sum up, basically, good writing.
Yeah.
What's good writing?
Good writing is circular.
Yeah.
It begins and ends with a simple, or not, as maybe, concept, idea, question, statement, etc. It sticks to that. It establishes its rules and its themes and its principles. It plays with them and pushes them as far as they can go,
Internal consistency.
but ultimately never breaks its own rules or its own setting, and ultimately reaches a conclusion.
A predetermined end.
One
That's the point.
One that, whilst never breaking its own rules, was not how you first interpreted those rules. Typically.
Bad writing.
Examples of this would
Anything
be...
that doesn't do that.
Bad writing is... not sticking to that. But you can still have simple things that don't bother with that don't establish a rule, and so just work with.
Prioritising other things other than the writing is always going to be your downfall.
It typically is. I mean, writing's not the be-all and end-all. There's a lot of things that the action scenes make.
But
Like
you
Kung
can
Fu
see
movies,
past
for example. Like, a Kung Fu movie, the story doesn't matter.
Yeah, but a lot of that is kind of...
It's the choreography, isn't it?
Yeah, and they always have, like, silly... like comedy value as well. They always have bits going on.
And that's what I mean. You can have a well-written story like The Legend of Drunken Master, where the story is, we're in China, British people are trying to steal Chinese things, let's stop them. Like that's the story.
That's fine.
And that's all you need. That's fine.
But yeah, it's got a different purpose and a different focus, hasn't it?
If right near the end you revealed it was actually the Chinese trying to steal British things from China and then didn't evaluate, then yeah, you've written a bad story.
Yeah.
Particularly things, and not adhering to those rules is bad writing. Particularly bad writing is going out of your way to show how bad your writing is. There are points where I almost kind of get with the Game of Thrones people of saying at the end, we hoped you'd just forget that we killed them all earlier.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid and no one's ever going to.
But it's not.
But it's
that
better
easy.
than The Force Awakens. No, not Force Awakens. The Last Jedi's. Your parents were junk people. They were nobody. No, we really didn't come up with any possible justification for why you can do this.
Yeah. It just happened.
Guys, we really didn't. He may have been looking, grabbing the camera, going, guys, stop asking. She's not related to Obi-Wan or the Skywalkers or anything. She's just a nobody.
Even though it made you feel like it through the whole film.
Well, yeah. And I think they did that as a twist, but it's a twist that makes it worse.
It's a bad twist, yeah. It's the wrong direction.
It's a Maze Runner twist.
It's just in the wrong direction.
It's a Maze Runner twist.
Yeah, it is. No Minotaurs. That makes a bad programme too.
That also, yeah.
Lack of monsters.
We haven't seen the third Star Wars film. There may still be a Minotaur.
No.
And that could save it.
No,
that could save the entire franchise.
It could. If it's a good enough Minotaur.
If it's a good enough Minotaur. But it won't be.
So, ultimately, right good.
It won't be.
Or put a Minotaur in it.
Or both.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote the story of the Perseus or whoever it was that slayed the Minotaur.
He wrote the best story of all time then,
had
really.
it going on.
If we sum up our rules.
I mean, also, based on some of mine, Moe is the thing. Cute.
No.
Cute girls.
No monsters. Big
Ideally,
men fighting and monsters. That's what you want.
And gothy lollies.
Yeah, gothy lollies, okay.
No one doesn't mind it. So I think we'll end it there.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some more one-off videos on this, maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes, just me talking about a particular concept. Because I have a lot to say that I didn't want to say now, because we're already running. But this was fun.
Yeah,
I'll
leave it at that.
I like just talking, not just about anything, just have...
Talking shit.
Yeah. We're going to mess around as well with some of the cameras and some of the stuff in the background, so...
Yeah.
See what we come up with. See you later, guys.
Bye!